Back in 2002, Nissan rolled this bad boy off the factory floor and into the market, and then by 2003, this affordable, fun sports car started making its way into the home of every sports car enthusiast who, well, let's just face it, couldn't quite afford a Corvette. Now, over the last 6 years that the car was on the market, it did see a few different drivetrain changes, and also as well as a little bit of power gains as the VQ35 went from the DE to the VQ Rev Up and eventually to the HR motor, which ultimately, as I think a lot of us are well aware of, came with a bunch of goodies such as a CDO9 trans, which is also, as a lot of us know, is featured in the 350z. This car is known as the Fairlady Z33 or simply Zedd to some. The Nissan 350z is known to be a driver's car considering the fact that it was so well set up and balanced from the factory. You can autocross, road course, or you could even drift this with little to almost no modifications necessary. So why exactly are we here today to talk about mods then? If you want to go ahead and make yours unique or even be able to beat up on other 350s, you're gonna have to go ahead and make at least some decent room for some sort of boost application, which might not necessarily end up being the easiest thing to do, but trust me, your 350Z will be faster than the rest, and it will leave an ear-to-ear smile on your face and any passenger that you so choose to put in the car. There's a few options out there to make more power, however, there's more to it than just that. These motors, though, they have great torque and are kept stock and well maintained. They have been proven to be reliable. They do have other things come up when you go ahead and start to put the gap B's order in, and that's exactly what it is that we're gonna be talking about today. All right, you guys, now before we jump into today's video, I wanna make sure that you all know about our summer style giveaway that's happening on our site for the month of August. Now, you can win a new look for your car, including coilovers, wheels, lighting, engine bay aesthetics, and more. Every dollar spent on our site is one entry to win. You also get double entries on parts bought from our sponsored brands that you see here. Not only that, but all MAPerformance merch proceeds go towards the Wounded Warrior Project. So make sure that you head on over to our site and get entered for the giveaway right after you finish this video. But let's jump in to what we're talking about today. All right, you guys, so the first pro on the list of pros when it comes to modifying your 350Z is gonna be that considering the fact that these cars are so well set up from the factory, with minor modifications, these cars can be incredibly fun to drive. Anything from just adding something as simple as a catback exhaust to modifying some of the driver modifications like a steering wheel or a seat. Obviously a nice quality set of coilovers. You know, the standard stuff that you're gonna do anytime you go ahead and get into a dedicated fun car. These cars are gonna be woken up incredibly, and that's obviously, again, why these did become so incredibly popular to enthusiasts everywhere. Next pro on the list of pros is gonna be for those of us who might be looking to make a little bit of extra jam with these 350Zs. Of course, the CDO9 and the later models that we found are gonna be pretty well equipped to handle upwards of 700 horsepower, and even those same CDO9s that were slightly modified, obviously, in the 370Zs, those have been shown to hold up to 900 wheel horsepower. So again, amazing transmissions, able to hold a significant amount of power. Next on the list of pros is gonna be that, as a matter of fact, the axles, in addition to the transmissions, tend to hold up to abuse. Actually, fun fact, friend of our shop, you might know him, he's also a pro Formula Drift driver known as Alec Robbins. He's actually running stock 350Z axles in his car, which you may or may not know about. Next up on the list is gonna be in regards to the maintenance of these vehicles. As we see with a lot of cars, maintenance tends to usually become a little bit more frequent when you obviously stir up some more horsepower. However, I will note that when left stock, these cars, the 350Zs, and properly maintained, can prove to be relatively reliable. Again, modifying cars changes a lot of the game and a lot of the context in which we refer to cars as reliable. If you're looking for one that's gonna be kept relatively stock and you're gonna go ahead and drive this thing around maybe on a daily basis, you can go ahead and keep this thing old, trusty, and reliable and take good care of it for a long time. Anyways, they last up when well maintained. Next pro on the list of pros is gonna be one that you actually see on quite a bit of these vehicles we tend to cover in these series, and that's gonna be that there are aftermarket parts wildly readily available. You can check some of that stuff out on our website, MAPerformance.com. But because again, these cars were so popular and so many of them were sold from the factory, and so many of them have made their ways into the hands of enthusiasts like you and me, they can be affordable or really expensive, as we've seen in series such as the high or low series done by Donut Media with their 350Zs. Again, there are parts available from a plethora of people, ranging from expensive to budget options available. So nonetheless, no matter your budget, you could probably modify a 350Z. The next and final pro on our list of pros is gonna be that these cars are relatively easily available. I guess we'll say that. These cars are readily available. Clean options are gonna be harder to come by when you're looking for buying one on a tight budget at this point. But again, what cars that enthusiasts like to modify don't become expensive after everybody and their brothers have modified an entire one together. Now it's time to go ahead and bring up the cons of modifying your 350Z, and let me tell you, there's a couple, so stay tuned till the end. Now, while we talked about the Trans being able to hold a lot of power, that's not necessarily because the engines were designed and made capable of making a ton of horsepower when left NA. Now, with that being said, NA platform VQ35 engines we see making upwards of maybe 300 horsepower reliably. There's not a whole lot more power that people are pushing out of these things without adding some sort of boost. Now, the next con on our list of cons is going to be that the 03 to the 05 models do have synchro issues within the Trans, so you don't want to be slamming gears necessarily if your 350Z's one of those model years. Now, the next con is going to be that the VQ engine itself is relatively, at least from what we're able to find and from our experiences, these cars aren't able to hold anything more than 400 horsepower. So again, once you've boosted your car, you're making all the jam you're hoping for. You're gonna wanna look into rebuilding some of the bottom end internals. There's a ton of rebuild kits. I believe that the rods tend to be the fail point on this first and foremost. But again, if you're looking to make more than 400 wheel horsepower after you've maybe boosted your car to some degree, you're gonna wanna go ahead and take that engine apart, build it up a little bit so it can actually hold the power without blowing the motor up, because again, these VQs can hold up to right around 400 horsepower. So the next and final con on our list of cons is gonna be that these cars do suffer, unfortunately, from burning a significant amount of oil. Now, this is partially, and I would maybe go as far as saying mainly, due to the fact that these have oil gallery gasket issues. However, Nissan has obviously come out with a fix for these, and if you're interested in learning a little bit more about that, you can just, Google it. These cars do have oil pressure and oil burning consumption problems, so yeah, that's gonna be kind of a pain in the ass and a no from me, dog. That's gonna be where we end today's video. If you guys are interested in any parts for your car getting entered in that summer style giveaway, go ahead and check out the links down below, or head on over to MAPerformance.com, where you can get all the different parts you're gonna need for your car. No matter what platform you have, whether it's a 350Z or something else, we've got parts for your car. Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe, share this video, all that fun stuff. And like I said, let us know down below what you thought, and if you think we should do other build-on series in addition to the ones that we have going right here, right now. We'll see you in the next one, though.